Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Spill the Tea. I am your host, Christina, and I have here.
How Trent?
Jane.
In today's episode, we'll be talking about coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when life is really busy and we have a million things on our schedule, a million things on our plate, people to see, places to eat, So it's like stress forms in all sorts of ways, So it's like with all the stress in our life, it becomes like overbearing. It becomes like too much. So it's like, I just want to know, like, what are some common stressors in your guys' lives?
Common stressors these days? Common stressors. I guess we work now, right? So sometimes when there are some months we have big events,
Yeah.
it can be kind of stressful just leading up to it, planning everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get audited.
Right.
We get financially
We
audited.
will have, that later on.
Yeah, that can be stressful as well. Definitely a lot of external things, right? It's all these unexpected things that happen to us. For you, what stresses you out these days?
For me these days, I think it would be archery, it'd be grad school, it'd be my Mitsua job, and then like, this job, and then having to commute here. So just a lot of things.
I think even little things that we do every day that seem normal can be kind of stressful. Like you said, commuting.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did have that, before, that stress. Because from home, from Westminster to Long Beach, it's about 45 minutes driving. But there's one time, from work to home took me 3 hours
Oh my gosh.
because of the accident.
Oh my
And
gosh.
there's no way that, you can go, like to the side streets because it's on the freeway.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way. And then when I'm not familiar with that area, I don't want to, to
Yeah.
stress myself or to get lost or something. And it's scary,
Yeah.
so.
I think I love living in SoCal, but I definitely hate that driving is the only way we have to get anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That commuting.
But other than that, I guess sometimes, stressors, the normal everyday stressor is also just people. Other people can add stress to your life, whether it be, disagreements or just you don't get along. You can't get along with everybody after all.
Exactly.
So
Family members.
things like that.
You have to
Yeah.
accept that, nobody is
Yeah.
perfect. And if you, like you said about, conflict, with the family members, if you don't like it, don't like it. You don't have to be to, push yourself. Okay, you have to be nice of that people. No, I'm not.
Is that a coping mechanism?
That's true, Jane.
We're gonna jump right into it. Coping mechanism.
What stress? For me, like because now I'm stressful. Because it's life is so much easy for me now compared with before, like years ago. That's very stressful at my work.
Corporate life.
Yeah, and then the commuting too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
So would you say that the stressors in your guys' lives are more things that are like, or more so things that are out of control, or out of your control?
Yeah, true. How can you control that? I can't.
Well, some things you can remove yourself from. It's like other people, but you can remove yourself from them. So
Yeah.
it's kind of in your control.
But that things like a commuting or your work.
Yeah, that
right?
can't be
You
helped.
can't
Yeah.
help.
Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
But like, what stresses you out more? Things that are in your control or things that are out of your control?
Let's see.
So I feel like, for example, like things that are out of your control would be like things unexpectedly happening at work, or like things that are in your control. Like, for example, like me talking to like my friends or like my family, it's like I don't have to talk to them.
Yeah.
And it stresses me out because I could just not answer their calls or not answer their
Yeah.
messages, you know, but it does
Right.
stress me out. So like which is a heavier stressor on your mind?
I mean, I think about that, and I suddenly have this thought: would some people consider just all of it to be just in their control, and they just have a mindset issue if they are bothered by it? Like, I don't know. I feel like some people might think that way, that it can be all in your control.
How can it be? I don't understand. You know, like if that people, that some kind of people, you know, think they are in control on everything. I'm not too sure about that.
It could be a mindset thing. Like, if you just think a certain way, it's like, oh, it's all in my control. It's just my attitude that's, stressing me out.
Even though it's not in their control at all, right?
All
Is
the
it right?
perspective, I guess.
Right?
So what would you say though for you? Like, what stresses you out more? Things outside your control or in your control?
Outside my control.
Yeah, I think generally like that's
Yeah.
the answer.
Outside my control.
Though I do think that even if I know it's outside of my control, at some point though, it might get to a point where I try to think of anything I can do to control things that are outside my control, and I get stressed out that I can't.
Yeah.
Because it's outside my control, and then I start inflicting stress on myself. Sometimes it gets to that point. That's happened to me a few times. Yeah.
Can we just ignore it?
If you can ignore it,
Yeah, if we can ignore.
I think that becomes a personal belief thing, because I think for certain things I cannot ignore it because I feel like I'm not being true to who I am if I keep on ignoring it.
Oh. Okay. That's so up to that personality, and then about that person beliefs too. You know.
So like dealing with all these stressors, I want to know what are some coping mechanisms that you guys use to like address these stressors?
How about work first? Like, what do you do to cope with work stress?
For coping that, I just if I just get stuck and I get like a stressful, I just leave it.
Leave it, come back to it
Leave
later?
it back and come back later, and then just do something that just like take off my mind about that. Like before I go for a walk or listen to the music, watch a bit of movie or go out for gardening. Because I have some plants that I love that much, and I said just see them, blooming, growing. That make me happy too, and then at least take up, my mind of that stress,
Yeah.
and then have a fresh start.
Yeah, I think when you're in the moment and the stress builds up, it can also make you worse at performing.
Yeah,
So coming back with a fresh mind is good.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't I don't push myself too hard, because doing that, I know that I'm more stressful, and I know that when I'm stressed, I cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Just mad at myself, mad at my family, right?
Yeah.
And it's not right,
Yeah. That's misdirecting your negative emotions.
Right.
I think for certain things, though, we definitely can't just avoid it. Like when we have events, like for example, we did a Mid-Autumn Festival, and we did like a 13-hour day that day. That you can't just stop in the middle of it all and do something else and just leave it all. Definitely knowing that, at least for work, knowing that you're going to be stressed out by it and better managing the day, just doing whatever you can to maybe like spread out the load, or put in breaks in between, or like make sure like you have a bit of lighter work in between all of it, especially on those long days, and we have to be there to keep doing the work. I think time management, scheduling, that kind of thing. Planning ahead. I mean, figuring out all the unknowns is good.
Yeah.
Because then the surprises won't stress you out even more.
Right.
And you're prepared for every single situation. Yeah.
Right.
Though I know some people are also just really in over their head with all the little details and stuff, and that in itself can stress them out too. So I don't know. It's also definitely a character thing, how easily overwhelmed you can get. Yeah.
I think I'm that way because like I tend to stress about things that already happened, you know, and it's
Oh.
like, yeah,
Really?
yeah, and I think ever since I joined archery, it has changed my mindset a lot. Even though I still do it, it has really helped me in thinking. So like for example, like in archery, if I shoot a bad scores, right? So I'll shoot like a 5, for example. Yeah, in the past, I used to freak out a lot, and
Yeah.
then that would make me stressed out, and it would affect my performance moving forward, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I've learned that worrying about the past doesn't affect the future. So
Right.
it's like, am I going to let this affect me, or am I going to just focus on the next one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Right.
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 How about when it comes to people then? How do you cope with all the stress that comes from like people? Because, you know, you're always surrounded by people, family, friends, coworkers, strangers.
You have to find your partner, your not enemy, your
Partner, enemy? What?
no. Find your
Support. Ally.
support,
Find your
your
person.
ally.
Ally.
Yeah, ally.
Ally.
You have to find that, you know, to be against that person, right?
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Interesting take.
Oh, like you want
So, like a haters club?
wait, you're trying to gather support to be on the same
No,
side
we
against
just say yeah, because you have to find someone with on your side.
Okay. Do you want them to fight for you?
Not fight for you, but not fight for me, but at least you know that person
comfort?
agree.
Comfort?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, with your feeling, your thinking, your
Yeah.
perspective, you know, something like that. You know, like at least you know, that person agree. Okay, you are right at certain point, something like that.
Yeah.
But you are not, you know, okay on those things. I disagree. But at least you know you find some support. You know, to you know for people.
Does it just make you feel better knowing that someone understands your feelings? And you
Right.
know, it's like it's okay to feel that way. That you're
Exactly.
upset.
Exactly.
It's like it's like growing up and having like problems and like your parents, and then having a sibling to confide in,
Yeah.
because they understand all your feelings and
Right.
stuff, and they validate your
validate.
feelings.
Yeah. Your feeling.
What if you're tussling with your siblings too?
Then you're just alone. I don't know. Then you go to the other sibling. So it's like, so Jane, like for you, because you're an only child, and I know like sometimes you would have problems in your family. Who did you turn to for support, for de-stressors?
Avoidance. Bad coping mechanism. Avoidance.
Exactly.
But
she
there
doesn't
are
have
good ones, there are bad
anybody.
ones.
But you have your friend.
Yeah, did you have friends to turn to? Or?
I think yes, but at the same time, I think that I sooner was distancing myself from people, whether be it family or friends who I didn't get along with, and then telling my friends that, like, you know, us coming together to share. Because in high school, I didn't have like one big friend group, or I was mostly focused on my commitment to yearbook, and a lot of times I guess that kept my mind off of so much, like, you know, I would be focused on the work rather than, you know, other conflicts. But it wasn't until college, the pandemic, you know, us being trapped at home,
Yeah.
when I did have a group of friends that I was talking to, you know, like everybody was coming out with all of their problems, like all their stressors with their family because they were stuck at home.
Oh yeah.
But by that point though, I had already been very firm with like setting my boundaries with my family in a sense. So then I could relate, but also not, because I was already setting boundaries. So not necessarily like friend support. I kind of got through it on my own. Maybe I talked to like one other person, but it's not like anybody could do anything for me, right? It was kind of telling some people, but also having to sort it out within myself that, you know, these are my feelings and like, what can I do about it? And for me, it was like distancing myself. So it's not that bad though.
So distancing yourself was your coping mechanism to get yourself through this? Or what other
Well,
things too?
avoidance is a coping mechanism, and like, you know, withdrawing within myself. But then the actual action of like setting boundaries, and like if, for example, like I don't want to see certain people, like I should just like, you know, not go to this function, or, you know, find some way to excuse myself from it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Is there a reason that you use avoidance as this coping mechanism?
Avoidance, when the bad ways that I use avoidance is just like avoiding everybody, like anybody and everybody. And I think it's like only child things, because I just wanted to keep to myself, and like there was no one around anyway.
That's true.
Yeah. So if I ever use avoidance in like a bad way, it's because of that, probably.
So do you use avoidance in other situations that stress you out?
When I'm upset with my support people, I guess. Sometimes I withdraw, because even like your support people, you can't 100% always get along with them.
That's
too.
true.
Right.
So then I withdraw, but I know that that's also bad. I have to talk through my feelings. So
like even though like you use this currently still, and it's like
I'm trying not to. It's gotten better.
that's good.
Yeah.
But like do you ultimately think like this is the effective way to cope with?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I know it's bad. Like logically, I know it's bad, but I just like, it's a feeling of just, you know, this is what I used to do and is familiar. So I just like fall back into it sometimes, but trying not to.
No, actually, because of Jane's situation is unique. She's the only child, so
Yeah.
She used to do, to do that way already. Versus
That's true.
The big family like
I wasn't
mine.
Like mine or yours? Yeah, like I can't.
I wasn't exactly around my cousins either. Like I have cousins, but like not that many. At least compared to this office, I think I have a smaller family. And besides, by the time we're like in what is it? You know, middle school, high school, and stuff. Like we were all doing our own thing, so we weren't always around each other.
Right.
Yeah, like I know for me, like I can't use avoidance as my coping mechanism only because like I have such a big family.
Really cannot physically avoid them.
Yeah, I cannot avoid them, and it's like even if I do avoid these issues and avoid them, in the future it just comes back to bite me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How big is your family?
My family?
Yeah, 10.
I think there's 11.
Your family.
My family, myself.
Like immediate family or
Immediate.
cousins?
Oh,
too?
immediate.
No, I don't talk about
immediate
cousin.
family.
So I think immediate I have. Oh, so not think I do. Immediate I have. There's 4 children in my family and then my parents.
Okay,
There-
so
there's
that's
the 6 of us.
6.
But the thing is, like, I grew up with my cousins like a lot. Like
really?
they were basically our siblings too. We grew up with them, yeah. Because
that's interesting.
we see our family a lot actually. Because my mom and dad both have 12 on both sides, 12 siblings.
Oh, that's big.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am constantly around my family.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with a lot of siblings and cousins just always hanging around as well?
We have 10 in our family, But, at my time, when I grow up, I don't stay at home
Oh.
too much because I hang with my friend. I love to, after school, I went out and play with my friends, And then so for my siblings, I don't have a lot, even though we're so close on age, but we don't not close, right? Like a BFF, right?
Yeah.
Because I have my friends already.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends.
And they have their friends too, right?
Yeah, they have their friends.
Yeah.
And then when we come over here, we are busy with work, and then like my sister busy with all her volunteers, so we don't have time. But now, as we get older, we feel like a much closer.
Reconnecting.
Yeah, connecting, and especially we have a lot of time to have a family gathering.
Yeah.
But the good things now, when you want to say something, you don't have to face like before. You
Oh.
texting, right? We don't talk over the phone either. We're just texting.
Is that a good thing? Because then
to
you,
me, it's just good thing because we're just joking about it too. Even the problem or the stress is serious, but we just do that. It's a lot easier for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so to me like that. Coping like avoidance. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But me, yeah, avoid it. I don't want to see it. Okay, and then go straight, to tell at your face or through my other
Or I know
sibling.
that I feel like a traditional thing that we do in our culture is to just swallow down everything like nin. You know? Yeah, like everything, like holding everything in. Like, did you do that a lot when you're growing up too, or?
That's what I do. I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
I hate it.
But did you do it? Did you have to because of the culture?
Yeah. Actually, not with with my siblings, but with my husband. You have to yin, so it's just to keep the peace in the family, right? And I hate it. So sometimes I know that I exploded, and that's bad, right? So
But like, what did you do in those cases when it just like all came out?
I just
Was he okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
But him?
He has to listen because that's he knows that his fault. I don't easily get mad or exploding like that, but just like it's too much. It's up to my neck. I can't yin at all.
But for example, if it's with like your husband, do you think that could have been preventable? Like if he's a good listener when everything explodes out, why couldn't he be a good listener like before to prevent it? Like could it have been possible?
No, it's Vietnamese tradition. And he's old school.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, it's hard.
I recognize that is like a bad coping mechanism that comes from our culture, and I really don't want to do that.
Yeah. Like for now, you guys with the young generation, you guys will, sit down and talk about it.
I sure hope so.
No, but I can see example, like I just take, my daughter's family, right? They always talk about everything. And they, like for Vietnamese tradition, husband and wife, the wife cannot go out with friends, right? Or the husband can go out.
Whack.
And then, and then sit down and drink and whatever, right? But, and then you guys don't have, we don't have space like in between us. And that's one,
Because like the family's always around, like that kind
yeah, but my daughter's family, they have different style. Her husband can go out, hang out with his friend, or can travel.
Do you think it's because we're not open-minded to each other, and that's why we can't even begin to talk about it, and that's why always
Yeah, it's hard. I think I'm not too sure about my parents. But for me, it's we talk, but we don't really talk. Discuss, right?
It's my opinion. I'm just stating it out, and you have to just take
Either
my
way,
opinion,
right? Either way,
Yeah.
if I say something, then you have to obey.
Yeah.
Or if I say something, okay, you have to listen to me.
Yeah.
But it's just
It's not a discussion or conversation.
not a discussion. Yeah, we just like do one way, and and then that's it. That's like and then that's why I'm used to avoid a lot of things.
So,
Because you know that now, are you doing anything differently with your family now?
Oh yeah, we are more open. Yeah, we talk a lot.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for the grandkids too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then even though we don't teach my kids about coping mechanism, but I know that the three of them are very supportive to each other, and they confide a lot of things among them.
Okay, that's
And I
good.
think that's good, right?
nice.
That they can avoid all the stress in their life, and because they can have somebody who listen to them to have a discussion. Okay, you should not do that. Or okay, if you want to do that, just go ahead and do it. It's good, something like that. And I don't have that kind of support or coping mechanism.
When you were growing up?
Yeah, yeah. We're totally different. Maybe you guys different too. Because you guys, raised up over here, just different mind, more open.
I mean, Western
Yes.
attitudes are more like about independence. And what is it? Not as afraid of or worried about conformity. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing, you guys are more acceptable to the other people instead of judging them, right? So you guys, I think it's more.
I think it depends.
Yeah.
I think
It depends.
still, yeah.
Okay.
I think that kind of maturity, emotional intelligence, and openness can still vary depending on the person.
Oh yeah. Okay. But are you guys happy with the way that you guys, raise up or?
With coping mechanisms, in terms
Yeah.
of coping mechanisms, clearly I learned bad things or developed bad habits.
So like in the future, how do you want your relationship with these coping mechanisms to differ?
Well, I mean, I picked up bad coping mechanisms when I was younger, right? Like avoidance, like withdrawing within myself. And it wasn't until, high school, college, that I was like, these are not good to do. And I had to fix them, break bad habits. So I think logically I can identify what is good, what is bad for me in the long run. And just figuring out how to make sure those bad habits, bad coping mechanisms don't rear its head again. But moving forward, I think also because as we grow older, or at least for me, life is more stable. So I'm not sure I need new coping mechanisms per se. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you feel like as you got older, it got better, all the stresses in your life? Or is that not what happened? Go ahead.
But are you happy, like now with your after you change your coping mechanism?
Yeah, I think so. Because, for example, when dealing with other people, it's better in the long run just maintain those relationships by, being able to have those open conversations, be honest about your feelings, that kind of thing. Or at least I hope that those are the kinds of people that I have around me that I can be open and honest with. So
That's true, because sometimes when you're around like negative energy, you don't want to have open discussions with them, and it stresses you out, this friendship, and then it's like whether or not you decide whether you want to keep having them in your life because it stresses you out,
Right.
So it's like even though like having conversations can be difficult, having that person as a friend shouldn't stress you out.
yeah.
I think for my parents though, I've learned to just say it straight to their face.
You
used
say straight to their face?
Yeah, because like when I was
You do?
when I was younger, I was so worried about getting yelled at or like other things. But now that I'm older, like I don't care what they say to me because sometimes they need to hear it, Because
right.
because I've been living with them for like 24 years, so or like 20 years. I can't deal with this constant stress in my life anymore. So it's like if they don't hear it, then they won't change, So
Though the distance also helps, though.
distance also helps, but when I move back home or when I come home to visit and they're yelling at me, they're trusting me out, I just say it to their face. I don't care anymore.
But are they okay about that?
Do they change? Do they improve at all?
Yeah.
My mom is more open to discussion, but my dad, no. But at least I said what I need to say.
But he's okay. He's not yelling back to you.
No, he yells back.
Oh, he's yelled back?
Yeah, he yells like all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Another thing the Vietnamese people do, they sweep things under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you have like after the explosion, it's like it never happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thoughts
right.
on that, Go How?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What do you do in that situation? Like how do you I think it's because for me as a person, I'm a bit hyper rational. It just doesn't make sense to me how you can have this explosion and then it just boop goes away. You're back to normal.
I say it to their face too when that happens. Because like one time my dad was yelling at my mom for something.
Yeah.
So I yelled at him for yelling at my mom. And then he yelled at me. So he was yelling at both of us. And then I went to my room and started crying. And then my mom was like, your dad just loves you. I was like, nah, stop taking his side. I defended you.
No gaslighting.
No gaslighting. She's like, don't worry about what your dad said. Let's go eat. I was like, I'm not going to go eat with either of you guys.
Yeah.
I defended you and now you're like, whatever.
No, even you said that you just, hide it under the carpet or whatever. And then, sometimes like I do that. And then it's not like nothing goes away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't. It never. Just like you just forget about that for a moment. And it just haunt you, forever. And when you go back,
I don't want to be haunted.
right? That's like a more serious problem. You don't want to talk about that because it's too serious, and it's just I don't want to talk about that.
But for example, the younger generations in your family, are they fighting back against that too? Or, because for me, I just can't wrap my head around how that can be possible. 1 minute explosion, next minute happy, everything's okay again.
So what do you do in that situation?
What do I do in that situation? I also have to forget about it.
Yeah.
No,
you
but then you're in this
forget about
constant cycle, Jane.
Which is why I try not to run into explosions, preventing the explosion. So is that kind of better?
No, you know what? I'm not that type person, but my husband was.
The person who like explodes and like is
Explode, and
happy
then
again the
next-
next minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah. So how do you deal with that? Because that's also something that
no,
kind of
because
happens.
for me, it just make me upset, and it just take me like for a whole week,
Yeah.
right?
A whole
or-
week. A whole week is reasonable.
Yeah, whole
That's
week
reasonable.
or a bit longer to calm me down. Because I said, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is he some kind of weirdo? Right?
You married him.
I know I bury him, but it's weird for me that But the thing is, like, I'm afraid that whenever it happened, that person has problem. It's just like you call it bipolar disorder, something like
we
that.
are no professionals.
Yeah,
So,
so-
this is not something we can say with confidence. But
Yeah.
But it seemed like it, because how can you just explode in 1 second, and the next minute you just okay, you just be happy like nothing happened, and it's just
Okay, so even you have not figured it out. Like
No, I
it doesn't make
can't.
sense to you either. Okay.
yeah, I can,
All right.
but
we'll never know.
take me like at least a whole week
I think that's
For
reasonable
coping.
though.
Yeah.
for coping.
Sometimes I feel bad that I take so long to feel normal again when I like, for example, like my partner, like if I am upset, I feel bad that I take like a week to get back to the sense of normal, but that is normal. Like people don't just switch it up like that with between 1 second and the next. You have
Yeah.
to take time
Take
to go back
time.
to sort your feelings and settle down again.
Take time and think about that. What did I do wrong? What what I say to trick him or to trick that person? I have to figure it out. And after I exhaust all the excuse or reason that okay, that's my fault, and I said, oh God, I'm happy. It's not my fault. Right? And then, okay, calm down. Okay, so that's fine.
Is your hope for like your kids and like your grandkids so that they don't experience that?
Yeah, I hope so. because it's not normal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some kind of extreme, for that personality.
Yeah.
Don't
Right?
gaslight yourself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
It's just in our blood to gaslight ourselves.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely for myself, identifying all these things and also making sure that, I don't bring it into my relationships, or people I run into don't bring it into our relationship on their side. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm not that, that type person. I'm glad, because I seeing that it's just
Traumatic?
it is,
Yeah.
and break your heart because you don't understand that person thinking, and you want to help them.
Do you wish that this was something that was taught when you were younger?
Yeah, we should. Our parents should, teach us sit us, down, or the child in trouble down, and talk about that.
I mean, but if your parents are doing it too, then they can't be the ones to teach you, I guess.
I know,
Just,
right?
a lot of us learn these coping mechanisms like later in life,
Yeah.
But it's like someone like my partner, he learned how to deal with his emotions, and he learned how to cope in a healthy way at an early age, So like I feel bad sometimes when I don't cope in a healthy way in a relationship, and he doesn't understand because he has always talked about his feelings and emotions, and I just don't,
You don't want to hear it?
No, I just don't want to talk about myself,
Oh, you should.
Yeah, I should.
Something we have to learn.
Yeah, something we have to
We
learn.
have to learn it.
Yeah. See, because he told you about his feeling, his emotion, so you should do the same for him.
Yeah, but I have trauma, so.
Maybe
right.
you're different. Not the time yet.
Is there anything else you guys want to say about, coping mechanisms, stress, this topic?
Like for each person, we have to figure out, the coping for ourselves. Because I'm not too sure if, somebody will teach you how to do that, right?
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because
It's
if you don't
hard.
have anybody to teach you and you just grow up with what you have absorbed
Yeah.
from other people, probably your family or something, and if it's bad things and you don't understand or are self-aware that it's bad, then you're just going to do the same thing. It's like a repeating cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are trying to break out of that cycle. Like, we are aware ourselves of some of the things.
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe everybody should get therapy.
Therapy helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk to somebody outside?
I think
Like
that's
for
why
the
therapists.
counselor?
I think that's why therapists and counselors are good, because that is not only just a professional, but a third person outside of you who is
Outside.
unbiased.
Yeah.
Unbiased. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a counselor or a therapist before? Or how? Or like,
I
what are your
did.
thoughts? Oh, how
I
was the
did.
experience?
The first thing I learned that, you have to be very honest with your therapist, your counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
You're wasting money
exactly,
and time.
money and
So
time.
true.
You have to trust that person to
Yeah.
confide to that person, whatever trouble you.
Yeah, you're already there. There's nothing to hide anymore. You
Right,
shouldn't
but
hide anything.
sometimes I know that person just go there but don't say
Yeah.
because they feel like they ashamed to dissolve right your family or yourself
Yeah.
problem. They don't want to do that.
I think it also helps finding a counselor or a therapist that's like that comes from a similar background and culture from you.
Yeah.
That too,
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about all these like cultural nuances or like culturally specific coping mechanisms too,
Yeah.
or behaviors that happen. So yeah, definitely finding someone who matches you too.
Yeah.
Was the therapist a good fit for you though? Or like, did you get a good experience from it?
50-50.
Oh, okay.
Not really, but at least he listen, he understand my needs
Okay.
and my problem.
Okay.
But I as you said, it's the culture, right? Maybe he doesn't understand the Vietnamese mind, the Asian mind. So
But was there any good takeaway from that experience? Like,
yeah, that's why after that, I just exposed, no, like to think about whatever like he told me to do, and then I apply that.
oh, okay,
Yeah, it's not like 100% like I really, really want,
yeah,
but at least it helped me.
yeah. How old were you when this happened?
50, around 50.
Oh, okay.
It's not young.
Yeah.
It's not that young, Yeah, and he's not young either. So,
There was- yeah.
he about like my same age, but he's American.
Hey, but good on you for going though. That's great.
Yeah. Never too late.
But I hope like for that coping mechanism or something like that, or stress of your life. I hope that Vietnamese community is more open about counseling. I hope so. It's helped.
Well, we also need more Vietnamese counselors to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how big that population is.
No, it's not that too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe you can go to spiritual leaders.
If that helps, but spirituality is not exactly the same thing as
because it's
unpacking the
more-
human mind in a more how do I say scientific kind of way?
In a more psychological way.
More spiritual.
No, not spirit. We don't want spiritual.
All right. I think that about wraps up our topic.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Whoa.
Follow us on
No more trauma.
Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Give Us Hope OC. You can also find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Go check us out.
What?
Please watch and share.
Oh, we're out of ice.